Let me welcome you to my channel. Before we begin the video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and like this post. Upon the release of the second half of her wedding film, alumni may be depended upon. One of Jan Duggar's pals is. Her backers gave it a lot of consideration. This second part of the video blog provided an insider's perspective on the event, and many viewers were taken aback by the sheer number of activities they participated in. The guests, in particular, were the center of interest, but the peculiar behavior of Jana's parents on the day of her wedding, behavior that some viewers saw to be an indication of a possible love connection, kept viewers glued to the show in anticipation of the argument. A video of Jana Duggar and Stephen Wandering's wedding was recently shared online. Her wedding to Stephen Wandering was also featured in a 24-minute video blog that she shared. Attendees commemorated the first kiss the newlyweds had as a marital milestone. Couple that just tied the knot after waiting a little while. Jana finally gave us a sneak peek from the wedding. The fact that several members of the family danced also surprised many, since it went against their conservative beliefs. Despite the fact that Jim Bob and Michelle's peculiar behavior at the wedding baffled many Redditors, Jan's maid of honor, Jessa, published a book that exposes parents like Jill and details everything that a few of Counting on fans had talked. She sent a really moving message to her. Wedding captured online reactions on Reddit were mixed, with many pointing out Michelle's apparent reluctance to physically touch her daughter as shown on the poster just before he walked her down the aisle. Jim Bob also broached the subject with his daughter. A disgraceful expertise derived from the original. Unfortunately for Jim Bob and Michelle, the fact that the primary caretaker of their younger children is leaving the family has come as a shock. This commenter on Reddit goes on to say that Jana's newfound freedom would make her ultimately cross Jim Bob's line and expose them in a tell-all book, as Jill Duggar did. Others agreed, saying that Jana is the only kid in the family who is likely to be. Well aware of the dark truths, Jana is the one to call if someone wants tea. Jana has been a free woman for over a decade, and it shows. She knows the secrets concealed in Pin Bob's wigs throughout the wedding, and she's grown more grounded in reality. This is all because to Jana, the TD home self. Unlike her sisters, Jana, the original owner of the teapot, has been given an opportunity. Jill Duggar, who is Jan Duggar's sister, has distanced herself from the family and from the audience. The family Duggar, their distinctive family, strict religious views, and conservative values have made them the subject of public fascination and scrutiny for over a decade, ever since they were acclaimed as the stars of the reality TV show 19 Kids and Counting. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar are two of the most famous people in the Duggar family, and their children, Dynamic, have been the source of both love and strife. Jana Duggar has mostly remained in the background, in contrast to her siblings, like Jill Duggar Dillard, who has bravely shared her story of resistance and eventual freedom from the family's oppressive grip. A lot of people have been wondering what Jana has planned for the future, and if she will follow in her sister Jill's footsteps and write a tell-all book. Even though she's the oldest daughter of the Duggar family, Jana Duggar is often depicted as the shy or enigmatic Duggar. Many viewers have wondered about her background and if she'll ever speak out about her family's strict hierarchy. But when Jill Duggar Dillard released her memoir detailing the spiritual and emotional toll of her upbringing in the Duggar family, her strained connection with her parents, and her decision to separate herself from their religious doctrine, it caused quite a stir. Not only did Jill's work captivate readers, but it also made many of them wonder whether, following in her footsteps, other Duggar children, particularly Jana, may contribute their own stories to this piece. Our investigation will focus on the reasons why Jan's narrative might captivate readers, the secrets it could expose about the Duggar family, and the likelihood that she would ever write a tell-all book. The dynamics of Jana Duggar's public persona. The quiet Duggar is Jana Duggar. Jana Duggar has always been a mystery to those that follow the Duggar family and were born on January 12, 1990. Since Jana is the firstborn out of 19 children, she has been an integral member of the Duggar household since she was a little girl. Jana often took on a maternal role, assisting her younger siblings with schoolwork and domestic tasks, to alleviate the stress that came with her mother Michelle Duggar's hectic schedule from having so many children. Jana, in contrast to her more outspoken siblings Jill, Jessa, and Jinger, had always been reserved when it came to making public appearances. For the most part, Jana has avoided disclosing details about her life to the public and has kept her personal relationships under wraps. As required, just spotlight on family-oriented television programs. Among Jana's most striking characteristics has been her lack of a partner. Several of her younger siblings got married and had families at a young age. As a result of her, from time to time became prominent in the news, she has been involved with many of the Duggar family's businesses, including the publication of Jill Duggar Dillard's memoir has only served to heighten the long-standing curiosity of Jana's many followers as to whether or not she would ever publish a memoir or talk publicly about her upbringing in the Duggar home. Real estate endeavors. And she has also stepped up to the plate to plan activities and events for the family. In 2023, Jill Duggar Dillards will narrate every memoir. Jill Duggar Dillard fearlessly released her autobiography despite the consequences. The memoir was noteworthy because it disclosed details that had not been disclosed before, such as Jill's encounter with the family's controversial views on modesty, her strained relationship with her father, and her decision to disentangle herself from the family's strict principles. The book was an honest and moving description of her upbringing in the Duggar family, including her relationships with her parents and the difficulties she encountered while navigating the expectations of the religious community in which she was brought up. Hacker Jim Bob. Among the most shocking revelations in Jill's book was the extent to which Jim Bob Duggar controlled the family's finances and decision-making. Jill recounted how her father had often made decisions without consulting his children and had been the guardian of the family fortune, restricting who could access it. Furthermore, Jill spoke on the challenges she had in dealing with her parents' refusal to acknowledge or support her decisions to separate herself from the principles taught at the Institute and basic life ideas. The Duggar family was a part of a divisive Christian sect, and her memoirs shed light on the challenges she faced as a child and serve as a statement of independence via the revelation of her personal story. Jill was an advocate for everyone who could be confined by inflexible familial or religious structures. A watershed moment in her journey towards healing came when she decided to publish the book in the face of potential criticism from her parents and the Duggar family. The success of keeping tabs on spending sparked a wider conversation about the Duggars and whether or not additional kids would follow Jill's lead and tell their stories. Jana, who had previously kept a low profile in public, was widely believed by her fans to be planning to write a tell-all book explaining why Janet Duggar may do what she did. A unique perspective on growing up in the Duggar family may be found in Duggar's life story, which differs from what her siblings have given. The candor with which they shared their experiences varied. Perhaps her story would be more captivating if Jan had been more reserved and come from a more isolated upbringing. Despite the fact that Jana has not made any overt declarations on her position as the oldest daughter, there are a number of signs that she may one day consider writing a book. The Duggar family had Jana in a special position. She was helping out around the house and taking care of her younger siblings, which may have made her feel pressured and expected by her parents. In her memoir, Jana could talk about how these experiences impacted her sense of self and how she dealt with the weight of family expectations. Many assumed that Jan Duggar's mental and emotional health would have suffered under the pressure to conform to the stereotypical image of the perfect Duggar daughter, one who obediently upheld the family's principles and ideals. Jana may have similar stories to relate about the expense of trying to fit in with the Duggar family's ideals. Writing them down would provide her a platform to share her journey of self-discovery and emotional regulation, as Jill said. Free yearnings for independence, Jana has remained out of the spotlight for the most part, but she has shown moments of personality and ingenuity that aren't always there while the family is in the public eye via her hobbies outside of the family company, such as interior design and gardening. Jana may find a platform to express her thoughts about the influence and control her parents have over her, the effects of Jill's memoir, and how she wants to be recognized for her individuality via writing a book. Perhaps Jana was inspired to consider writing her own story after seeing Jill Duggar Dillard's decision to write a book. Jana has always been more reserved than Jill, but writing her book was a major milestone on the path to finding her voice and speaking her truth. If Jana saw her sister being courageous, she could be motivated to do the same. 5 Changing dynamics within families. With the public's interest waning in the Duggars' lives, several of the youngsters grow apart from their parents and stop participating in the family's religious activities. notable developments have occurred in the last several years. Pressure to conform is prevalent in her family and the dynamics she has seen. Given the pressure Jana felt to conform to the Duggar family's exacting expectations may be the subject of her autobiography. Jana may have struggled greatly with internal conflicts as a child growing up in a family that valued traditional gender roles and modesty. The challenges of being a child of fame, when one's own tastes and opinions are often pushed to the side in favor of the needs of one's family, may be better understood via her story and the bond she had with her parents. Compared to her siblings' relationships, Jana's with Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar has received less media attention. Parent-child connections. Her father, Jim Bob, has played a pivotal role in shaping the public perception of her family, and a tell-all book may reveal her innermost thoughts and sentiments about him and her mother. Following Jan's reaction to Jill's criticisms of Jim Bob and her parents 3 days after the spotlight went off, viewers may be curious to see whether there was a change. Although some of the younger Duggars have fully embraced their celebrity status, another potential key concern is Jana's life when she leaves the family's reality TV shows. For the most part, Jana has remained unsung. Perhaps her book will go into the experience of stepping away from the limelight, navigating the challenges of living outside of one's family's rigid regulations, and finding personal growth away from the scrutiny of the cameras. An individual's thoughts and growth. While Jana may have adhered to her family's religious views throughout her life, she may have developed her own views on religion, family, and the future if given the opportunity.